Speaking of keeping the legacy going, you think of abantu abafana no Tatu Mahlatini, and you're like, this larger-than-life character whom we all revered passes away poor. If your son were to come to you and say, "Ba, I want to get into making music and doing music," what would you tell him?
I listen, my family. Someone is born like, yeah, it's like, oh no, another singer. I mean, even my daughter's like, she'll start singing. I'm like, oh, that is quite something. But it's like, please, can we just get a lawyer or an accountant? Yeah. I come across as very boring to youngsters, to my, anyone that's younger than me that needs the advice. I know they need the advice because they're still excited. And the thing is, I talk all the serious things like, they just want to record, man, And my worry is, what if you have that hit? What if you succeed? What if you become so big? How are you going to look after it? Yeah. That is where my gripe is at, Yeah. You may tell a person, hey,
let me see for myself.
And it's that person's experience. It's the same lesson, but it comes in different ways. The music field, it's a lot more complicated and can bring so much more than we think. But it's just that we only base it on what we see on television.
So when you say it's a lot more complicated, what do you mean?
When I say it's a lot more complicated, there's a lot more to it, rather. There's a lot more to gain from it. But Tina's Peganja TV, and that's it. We don't think about the music that's playing in the lift. We don't think about the music that's playing when you put on hold. We don't think about all these other things when you're watching a movie and there's that, that's music, And people that know the business, that's what they're looking at.
Sure. So the business of music is
so don't tell me you're in the industry when you don't know the industry.
Sure. I would like us to talk about people that you've worked with over the years who have passed away. As we celebrate 20 years of Ihaliwin, we think about Tula Tulis, we think about TK, we think about Umaheu, and that powerful voice and that powerful energy. When you reflect back, what are you most grateful for? And I ask that because sometimes we always say, give people flowers while they can smell them. If you could give them flowers and say, you know what, I'm grateful for this contribution in my life, what would you tell them?
I think more than anything, I think it's important to be grateful for the fact that you know that life is short based on those, because there's some outstanding musicians. I mean, Moses Mlelekwa. I really felt robbed there. It was like, this guy was just getting into, being the greatest, where you have a conventional, traditionally jazz musician who's getting into kwaito, and he's making killer tracks, and he's bringing in his own vibe, and then his life is cut short. And it's like, no, man, and really talented people like your TKs. But it's important to put things in perspective, like properly into perspective, not just one-sided. Hey, drugs, you must, drugs. No, that's not the problem. That's just the result of the problem. What are the conditions? What leads people to certain circumstances? What is the environment like? And it's important that we discuss those things. And it's sad for me in these days of social media. You get guys who have millions of followers, and all they do is just talk about cars and women and like, I'm better than you. Unfortunately, they say youth is wasted on the young. But there's so much more that we can talk about. And that is where the money is. If it's money that you're looking for, that's where the money is.
Let's talk about the state of affairs in music. You find a lot of artists now coming up, especially with the recent passing of HP, where they attributed it to depression. A lot of artists coming out and saying, well, I'm struggling with this as well, or I'm struggling with that, or I can barely make ends meet. When you take a look at the state of affairs, how would you grade it?
Obviously, we're not living in a healthy society. When I spent many months in East Africa, about half a year, social media is there. And actually, a lot of things are much more advanced than here. And we think, no, it's not. We are like, but there's a lot that I learned about my own community. South Africans are very angry. What you read on social media and how people are on social media, it's not normal. It's when you go outside, you're like, no, but it doesn't mean that this is how people are. You know, and there's a lot that we need to deal with face to face, like really deal with racial issues. You know, it keeps springing up in different ways, but we don't deal with it. We just keep dealing with whatever comes out of it, you know. And there may be just a lot that is affected by where we come from and what we have not dealt with. Like when I say how we deal with success, how we deal with the industry and so on, because there's a lack of knowledge of even who we are. When are we going to do something about who we are and get to understand who we are? You know, there are certain things that will just never work because it's not part of us. You know, we try and do it, but it doesn't work. It keeps not working because it's not really for us. You know, and until we start separating issues, like when you're a star, it doesn't mean you're better than someone else. Just that what you do puts you on television. But it doesn't mean that who doesn't get put on television makes less money than you or is less important than you. So until we start looking at, if it's music, how much of it does it contribute to the GDP? It's like, so before you start talking, how much money do you actually make? Can you say, I'm going to buy a 20 million rand house based on how much I'm going to make? Anyone that can sing nicely.
Because even me,
but
I can do it.
Yeah, but I can tell you that it's unstable. It's just, it's sold as something that, but no one actually goes down and does the math, you know? And until we can do that, then we can call ourselves professionals. Then we can start planning our lives properly. A lot of kids come up to Johannesburg because they can sing. Everyone can sing. Everyone can sing. Go to any church, everyone can sing. Does it mean that everyone that can sing needs to be in front of a CD cover? You know, so until we deal with those things, and we're going to keep having even professionals, hey, Zwai, man, you know, my child, man, has done so well at school, so good, Mara, they want to go into this music thing. You know what? We are ifuna, you know? And I have to be honest and say, I understand your concern because these kids can't put anything that makes sense to you as a business person. It has to make sense.